Welcome to another episode of Inquiring Minds. I am your host, Steve Harper, and with me as always is my co-host, Donna Carlin. Donna, how are you doing today?
I'm doing much better now that you're back from vacation. This is perfect. Ready to dive in with you.
I think we were both going through withdrawal, so I missed you the last couple of weeks I've been out. Even though people are seeing episodes coming out, with regularity, we did take a little bit of a hiatus, and so I have missed seeing you on my screen.
Same here.
Yeah. Well, so I'm excited about today's topic. What are we talking about? Because I can't wait to dive into this one.
So I think a question that serves us all. What do you have to let go of?
I love that. I mean, there's so many things. I would not know where to start, but it's a powerful question, and it's interesting because this question, along with the ones that we've been asking in these episodes, have really kicked off some very unusual dialogue for folks that I know, and of course, I know you're having those conversations as well. And this is one that I think you really could ask on a daily basis, right?
Oh, hourly. Think about it. We take more and more and more on.
Yep.
Constantly, thinking that we'll juggle, we'll multitask, all the stories we tell ourselves, and we don't necessarily ask, what do we have to let go of? So we say yes to the right things.
Yep. Well, so how do you find yourself utilizing that question to your benefit? And then how do you leverage it for the clients that you work with?
I think the best way is to tell you a short story. I was at TED Women, and they keep voluntelling me to do stuff when I'm there because I'm part of the community.
Voluntelling.
Yeah.
Every time we get on one of these calls, I learn new languaging. Tung fu, voluntelling.
Yep. So I was asked to do these speed dates, which I was really happy to do around the edges of the actual conference. And this young woman put in her ask. So the app was fantastic because you would put in your ask what you wanted from me. And I said what I could give back. And if the person who was asking intrigued me enough that I knew that I could have some impact, because it was a very short period of time, 15 minutes.
Yep.
So I needed to be able to pack a punch and make a difference in that 15 minutes. So she came to me and, oh my goodness, like everybody else at TED, blows me away. And she tells me that her goal is to be an astronaut. She was doing a master's degree and volunteering for young girls and high school students in class. And, she was pushed to her limits. Like everything she told me, each thing that she told me is extraordinary. And she was an aviator with the Air Force. That's what she did for her day job. So, like a pilot. So I looked and I'm saying it's not managing, because she wanted to know, how do I manage?
Yeah.
How do I transition? And I just looked at her and I said, to me, it's not about managing.
Yep.
What do you have to let go of? And she just started to cry because she never thought of that question. And I said, it's not leaving something behind necessarily. It's looking at the parameters within which you do something. It's figuring out, how much time am I going to devote in my volunteer work?
It's interesting.
It's also making sure that there's a balance and not trying to do everything 3,000% when you only have a third or a quarter of your working day, and I'm throwing working day in there, to be able to do something successfully.
Yep.
And I said, when you figure out what to let go of, and maybe it means that you do let go of one of those buckets until you finish another bucket, maybe your master's degree or whatever it is, and then get back into it. It doesn't mean you have to do everything right now in your life.
Yeah.
So that is the question that I left her with. I said, you might not be able to answer it now. Ask yourself that every day when you feel overwhelmed, your calendar is totally filled up and there's no breathing space. What do I have to let go of right now?
Yeah, that's a great story. And, it's super powerful. I think, especially for those that are listening or might see this on YouTube, if you're a business leader, I think that's an important question to ask yourself on a daily basis. I think, especially hard charging individuals, which you and I have been accused of being from time to time, we have a tendency to keep piling on our plate, keep taking on more tasks, keep doing all these things that are, that in the moment seem like realistic tasks or realistic, things to say yes to. And yet we end up becoming overwhelmed with all the things that we have to get done. And I think especially for hard charging individuals, there's this fear of looking like you are dropping a ball, or you're not able to complete it, or you're impugning your credibility by pushing it off and saying, you should have said no in the first place, but now you didn't. So now you don't want to let somebody down, or you don't want to look bad to your colleague or a friend. And so, you keep pushing forward, but, you're also taking away something, from something else that you probably should be spending your time and energy and attention on. And so I think it's an interesting thing to ask as a hard charging performer, to ask yourself that on a daily basis. And there's no there's no mistake in saying, look, I can't handle these things. These are things I don't want to step up to the plate to take on, because I need to focus on my other efforts. However, if I'm a good, resourceful leader, I probably have built my team around people that can actually take those tasks off my plate, or as they bubble up, I know exactly the person that does need to, or could handle this better than I could. So I think there's this fear of letting go and looking bad in front of other people, because you sort of you especially as entrepreneurs, you kind of have this, you wear this superhero cape all the time, and you don't want to have people have that perception that you're not able to complete that task or that project. But at the end of the day, it's important for your mental fitness and your your leadership capability to be a good leader, is to be able to figure out what you just simply can't agree to do.
That's it. I'm going to bring back the Kung Fu thing that you mentioned earlier. In Kung Fu, I keep telling people, don't should yourself to death. I should have. Instead, you look forward, because you can't change what happened. So, what I look at is, next time when this happens, this is how I'm going to handle it. And I have been living by that motto, for lack of a better word, for years. I remember even the work that I'm doing now with the fellowship programs and the fellows that I'm working with at TED and some of the other organizations. When I was first asked to be a part of that, I said, I will not accept now. However, as soon as, rather than no but, as soon as I give up my role as president of this think tank, I will be happy to engage. So it's not saying no, period. It's saying no, and as soon as this is what's going to happen. No longer shutting myself to death. People say, do you sleep? And I go, of course I sleep, and I have hobbies, and now we have a new dog, and everything else that I give a lot of time to, never mind my family, which is most important. I used to work 7 days a week. I don't anymore, because I have set boundaries for myself, and weekends are off. Yep. That's it. You'll hear me scream at you through email saying, Monday. What's going to happen over the weekend? Take a break. Take a breather.
Yep. Yeah, you're an important reminder to me, because I'll be up here on a Saturday in my studio, and you'll be like, why are you working?
Exactly.
So I totally get that. Well, let me ask you on a personal level, and maybe I'll answer it, and then I'll ask you, what is the thing that, you need to let go of right now? And for me, I would say on a personal level, I need to let go of some of the fear and trepidation that I've had that has been holding me back on a couple of big decisions for my company. And I need to sort of be confident in the direction we're heading, and realize that, you're not always in control of every single aspect. And when I'm in control, or when I feel like I have to be in control, I realize that's fear that is actually bubbling up to the surface. And really at the end of the day is actually, putting the big anchor around my neck and slowing the company progress, the my team from taking on and doing more things. As you mentioned at the start of the episode, I just got back from vacation, and there were several key things that had to happen while I was gone. And I know my COO was like, well, I know you're going to want to be involved. I'm like, nope, I don't want to be involved. I want you to make the decision that you feel is the best decision going forward. And, that's the only way that that's the only way they learn, and the only way they learn to step up as leaders. And I know that was kind of unusual for him to hear at the time, because that's just not my MO, but I have to let go that fear of always being in control in order for us to make the progress. So that's something I've realized, which is why I was excited about this topic today. But what is something on a personal level for you that you've had to let go of?
It's really interesting. We have a bucket list the size of Chicago. And I realized that I need to let go of some of the things that I really wanted to do for a very, very long time. And that's not so easy, because it's things that you're excited about. It's much
Mm-hmm.
easier to let go of things that you're not excited about.
Yes.
And if you look at a bucket list, obviously that is a list of things that you really want to achieve or experience in your lifetime.
Yeah.
And COVID, cancer, all kinds of things that threw a monkey wrench to that. I'm looking at how much time do I believe that I have. I'm not going to be traveling at 102 if I live to 102. And what can I let go of so I really experience to the fullest some of the other things that we choose to do, and not rush through them. That's the other thing. When
Yeah.
we're really excited about something and we dive in, we want to do more and more and more and more, except we have 15 other things that we want to devote our time to. We don't give ourselves that space to really, truly experience and enjoy that which we were so excited about in the past.
Yep. Well, and I find it interesting on the bucket list side, because you committed it to paper, or it was something you and Ray talked about. Now it's there, right? And I think what the underpinning of this entire conversation is that you have to be good to say, well, 4 years ago, those things that were on our list were what we wanted to do at that time. However, life changes, and the world moves fast, and there are other things that those items can be replaced by, and you have to be good and comfortable to let those go and replace them with new things. And I think that that's a huge takeaway. Just because you said it, just because you put it on paper, or just because you may have committed to it a few years back because it was convenient or made sense at that time, doesn't necessarily mean it makes sense right now, here and now. So I think
And
that's good.
the pushback I'm going to have on that is when you mentioned and replace it with other things. I think
Or
that
not.
the biggest
Yeah.
um, pushback that we have is thinking that we have to replace it with something
Yeah.
else rather than nothing, and just see what chance experiences pop up because we have the time and the space to experience them.
Yep. Yep. Absolutely. Great point. And you're right. Just because it was there doesn't mean it has to be replaced with a new activity, a new goal, new aspiration. So that's absolutely true. Sometimes it just needs to get crossed off and just leave that space. Right. So this has
Exactly.
been, I love these conversations, because they give such great insight into how you think, and hopefully a little bit about how I think. But at the end of the day, the whole intent of these episodes is to get people out there to think and ask these questions themselves, and enter into dialogue and conversation with people that are close to them, people that they're working with, new opportunities to have deeper dive conversations on some of these topics. But I think this is a conversation you have with yourself, right? What do you need as our listener, or if you're watching this on YouTube, what do you need to let go of right now? And I guarantee you, if you really spend some time asking yourself that question and allowing that to sort of those answers to reveal themselves, you're going to be pretty impressed with what your mind comes up with and what freedom it might give you if you do carry forward.
That's it. And also do it with your teams at work,
Yes.
because they're going to have a different viewpoint of what is really truly important. Not everything is critical crisis blowing up in your face, although a lot of organizations seem to treat things like that.
Yep.
Um, take a moment to sit with your team and say, what can we collectively let go of so we are doing what really needs to be done.
Yeah, valid point. Yes,
Doesn't mean that you're
absolutely.
going to never do it. What it means is you're going to park it and revisit it to see if it is important enough to do it later on.
Yeah, that's well said. And what a great way to finish this episode for sure. And as always, Donna, this has just been fantastic. Thank you for the conversation. Thank you for pushing me forward. And I'm going to go back and start looking at that question a little deeper myself as soon as we stop recording here. In the interim, we want to make sure that everybody is aware that you can reach us through our websites. Mine is ripplecentral.com. Donna's is donnacarlin.com. You can see it right there on the screen if you're happening to see these videos on YouTube. If you're like, hey, I don't know what you're talking about because I get this on the podcast, well, we do have a YouTube channel. Just look for Inquiring Minds with Donna Carlin and Steve Harper, and you'll find our YouTube channel. We'd definitely love it if you'd subscribe. If you happen to be on the podcast, let us know. We would love to hear from you as well. What platform are you listening to? What are you taking away from these episodes? Those things are important to us. What would you like us to have these conversations about in the future? What other topics should we cover? But Donna, how do people reach us on Facebook? Because we have a Facebook page as well, right?
Yeah, look for Inquiring Minds with Donna Carlin and Steve Harper on Facebook as well, and join the community. Let us know what resonated for you. Let us know if you've tried any of the things that we've thrown out there. And if you have any questions for us, we'd love to hear.
Yep, absolutely. Well, until next time, Donna, take care of yourself. And I'm going to get to work on my list right now of what I need to let go with.
Have a good one.
Take care.